Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Core Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I am finishing up my Spooky Vibes marathon for you guys. And the video I'm reacting to first is 3 true Craigslist horror stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, boot the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okay, here we go.
The older I get, the more I realize it's human beings that are truly the real monsters of this world. Back in 2021, my boyfriend and I broke up. I was staying in his apartment. It was a pretty bad breakup, and pretty much I had to be moved out ASAP. I was searching all over the internet for a place to rent. I was getting pretty desperate, to be honest, when, one day, I found a pretty decent apartment not too far from me on Craigslist. I reached out to the owner, and we made plans to meet up and to have a tour of the apartment. When I arrived, it was an okay property. It wasn't in the best part of town, and the rent was a little high for my budget.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say I'm sorry that you broke up with your boyfriend, but I get it. Things didn't work out between you two, and he needed you out ASAP. But before searching on Craigslist for a room to rent, I would have been crawling back to my parents' house to see if they'll let me stay until I could find something that would be affordable, because $800 for rent is extremely high. I wouldn't be able to afford it. I'd be kicked out in like a week at least.
But again, I just needed to get out of my boyfriend's place, so I couldn't be too picky. The owner seemed like a really nice guy. He was in his late 50s, and he said that he owned a bunch of these properties around town. He let me in the front door. It was a single house that he was renting. Now, call it women's intuition or just following my gut, but the second that I walked into the house, something was off. You know how you can get those weird feelings in the pit of your stomach that tells you something isn't right? Well, my stomach was screaming that at me. But I did not want to be rude, and again, I really did need a place to stay. He showed me the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom. The place wasn't fully furnished, and it would need some work on my part. And that's when I started to notice these weird symbols in the corners of the walls. At first I thought maybe the last tenant had doodled them, but I noticed that the symbols were on most of the walls. I asked the owner what was up with all the weird symbols. He only laughed and said not to worry about them. Then we got to the basement door. The owner at this point seemed very excited. He said the basement was the best part of the whole property.
Oh, heck no. If the owner just laughed and said don't worry about the symbols on the wall, I'll be kind of nervous at this point, because maybe that may not be the last tenant that lived there left them on the wall. It probably might have been him, and he's using that place for like a ritual sacrifice ceremony house. I don't know, but that's what I'm guessing.
He opened the door, and it was completely dark. I could smell this musty, rotting smell, and nearly gagged. I tried to step away from the door, but he put his hands on my lower back, trying to guide me down the steps, saying, "Come on, let me show you the best part." And I realized there could be nothing good down there. I know this will sound strange, but I could feel the evil that was radiating from the basement. At this point, I did not care about being rude. I said that I needed to use the bathroom real quick and just booked it out of the house. I got into my car and sped off. In my rearview window, I could see the owner just staring at me through the front window. I don't know what prompted me to do this, but my dad is a police officer in the next town over. I called him and told him I think he needs to send officers over to that place ASAP. Well, the next day, 2 officers went out to that house, and what they discovered was horrifying. They discovered 3 dead females in the basement. Their ages ranged from 19 to 27. And here's the worst part. That owner had multiple properties. Officers were sent to each property, and at every one of them, they found bodies. This guy's MO was to lure people on Craigslist, especially women, to check out his properties. He'd show them the basement and commit his evil there. This guy in my area is now known as the Craigslist Killer. Guys, please don't ignore your intuition. If I ignored mine, I would not be here telling you the story. Use good judgment and always be aware of your surroundings.
Oh man, that's terrible. I knew that guy was up to no good, and he's just using Craigslist to lure people to him. But I didn't know he would actually have multiple properties where he kills people at. That's disturbing. But thank God her dad was the police and got some officers to go to that property and find out about this guy's other properties and finding more bodies, even though it's gruesome to see. But hopefully they get enough evidence together to get a case going and see if they can track that guy down and arrest him. Hopefully he's caught by now, but if he ain't, oh man, that guy's stealthy, it seems like. But I'm just glad that she trusted her gut and hightailed it out of there before she was his next victim. But let's get to story number 2.
We live in a weird, weird world, everybody. And here's why. A few years back, I was looking for a new couch on Craigslist. My old one was chewed up by my dog, and I just couldn't take the embarrassment of my friends asking me why I had such a shitty couch. After hours of scrolling on Craigslist for something decent, I found this blue couch for an amazing price.
You need to tell your friends to shut their mouths up, because you can't help it that your couch is all torn up because of the dogs. I would have been like, well, if you don't like it, can you buy me a couch? But then they probably might start an argument. You never know. So this person needs to be careful. And
the description said that it was like new, from a pet-free home and no issues. I was sold and quickly made arrangements to pick it up from the seller. It was only a 5-minute drive to pick it up. It was being sold by some older lady by the name of Betsy. She was nice enough and actually gave me an additional $20 discount when I got there. Happy about my new couch and ready to have my friends not think it was a piece of shit, I had it loaded in my truck and was ready to head back home. But as I was about to back out of the driveway, Betsy tapped on my window. I rolled it down and asked what's up. She looked at me, now all the friendliness and happiness gone from her face, and said, "I'm warning you, strange things have been happening with that couch." I laughed a little bit nervously. I did not know if this was some kind of weird sales tactic, but ultimately, I said everything should be fine and backed out of her driveway.
okay, I'll be taking that as a friendly warning, but I got a bad feeling they're going to experience some creepy stuff happening.
Later that same night, after I had moved the couch into my living room, I was sleeping in my room. I want to say it was around 2 a.m. when I suddenly woke up. At first I thought I had a bad dream or something like that, but I quickly realized that's not why I woke up. I could hear whispering. Like children whispering. Like when they're trying to keep a secret hush-hushed. I don't have any kids or a girlfriend. It's just me and my dog in my house. I got out of bed and went to further investigate. I wish I hadn't. I stepped into my living room, and it was freezing. I mean, like ice cold. The whispering had stopped by now, and that was fine. But what was not fine was the little girl that was sitting on my new couch. I had to slap myself to make sure I was not dreaming. I told her, "Whoever you are, you need to get the fuck out of my house right now." As I took a step closer to her, I realized that her face wasn't a face. It was disfigured, like when paint colors get all mixed up on a canvas. I nearly shit my pants.
I would be too at this point. This ain't normal. If I found out that it was the couch that was bringing in possessed people, or their attached to this couch, then I would have been throwing it out ASAP, because that's terrifying that he walked out there and saw a girl sitting on the new couch and her face is kind of like smeared paint, like he said on the canvas. That would make my blood turn cold quickly.
I sprinted back to my bedroom, grabbed the gun that I keep under my bed, and bolted back into the living room. But when I got there, the little girl was gone. I was reminded at that moment of Betsy with her strange warning about the couch. Believe me when I say, I got no sleep that night. I literally waited for the crack of dawn, loaded the couch back up into my truck, and drove back to Betsy's house. And here's where shit gets even weirder. When I got to the house, there was no car in the driveway. I walked up to the front door and saw there was a note taped to it. It said, "You should have never bought the couch. Now it's too late." And I peeked into the house just to see if anyone was home and nearly shit myself. Standing directly behind one of the windows near the front door was that girl from last night. Her face was still disfigured, and she stared at me with these blank, empty eyes. I ran back to my truck, dumped the couch onto the driveway, reversed out of there, and never looked back. No weird shit has happened since, but one thing is for sure. I am never buying anything off of Craigslist again.
Let that be a warning to you all that decide to go shopping on Craigslist, because some things are too good to be true, and you never know if an item might be possessed or not. But that is creepy. Makes you wonder what happened to that lady Betsy. She got terrified in her own home and packed up and moved, or she passed because of this entity and her family just got all of her stuff and left the house abandoned. I don't know, but that's just weird. And then there happened to be a note saying you shouldn't have bought the couch, but then I'll be doing the same thing like he did, dumping it right there on the driveway and leave. But thank God nothing did not keep on bothering him after that.
Well, let's just get right into it. I live in a small town outside of Philadelphia. I have a minimum wage job, and my life is pretty basic if I'm being honest. Since I'm not rolling in the money, I buy a lot of stuff from secondhand stores and Craigslist. Well, last year, my phone broke. Like, it shattered and everything, and you cannot even see the screen. Buying a brand new phone was way out of my budget, and I decided my best bet was to get one off of Craigslist. I found a good deal on a used iPhone XR. It had a few scratches, but anything was better than my shattered phone. The seller and I agreed to meet at a time and a place. We met at the local police station around 8 p.m. at night. I always meet here, just in case anything bad goes down. The transaction went fine. I gave him the cash, and he gave me the phone. Easy enough, right? Well, once I got home and put my SIM card into the phone, things started to get really weird. I was getting strange texts from numbers saying, "The job is done, pay me in crypto." I started blocking all these messages that I was getting. It was literally like over 30 messages.
You see, I wouldn't even buy phones from Craigslist because you never know, the seller might have put a virus or a program into it where they can message you once you put your SIM card or information in, to where they want to blackmail you to get your information back. You got to pay them. At that point, I'll be taking the SIM card out, taking it to the police to see if they can take it apart and see what's going on with this thing. If it does have a virus, destroy it and try to track down the guy that sold it, and I'll be mad as hell.
I got the most disturbing message of all. Mom, 2 kids, single, her car's marked, waiting for the signal. Then I was sent photos of this mom and who I assumed were her 2 children. They were tied up and bound. The mom looked really bloodied up. I literally had no idea how or why I was getting these messages. I went back onto Craigslist to message the guy who sold me the phone, but his account was deleted. I literally went back to the police station that night and showed them the messages that I was getting. They had to confiscate my phone. A few days went by, and the police told me as much as they could without going into too much detail. The messages that I was getting were apparently from some human trafficking ring. Whoever sold me the phone was most likely in on it too. But I guess my question is, why did he sell me that phone? Like, why would he sell me something that could possibly incriminate himself? The cops still have that phone, and I don't think anything has been done. I haven't heard of anyone being caught, and I have no idea about the condition of that mother and her 2 children. And now, this could just be me being paranoid, but I swear I've seen people following me. Like, when I go to work or go to get gas, I always see this red truck with a man in it. And here's the part that scares the shit out of me. I noticed a mark on my car. It's a W with a cross in the middle, which was the exact same mark on the mom's car in the messages that I was receiving. Like, does that mean I'm being targeted? I have guns and a dog at my place, but I'm seriously freaked the fuck out that this organization is now stalking me. I am never buying anything off of Craigslist again.
Oh, crap. I'll be calling the police and showing them the evidence of that symbol on your car, but also telling them that there's somebody following them. Because it seemed like they probably figured that they were going to turn that phone into the cops, and now they're mad. I hope they get that situation solved quick before they get kidnapped or murdered. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibes related content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.